Hello, children. It feels so good to be back after a long time. And this time I've come up with another new video for you on kinds of sentences. Okay, children. Now, before we move on to learning the four kinds of sentences, I would like to once explain to you what is a sentence. Because unless and until you know what is a sentence, you will not be able to understand the different kinds of sentences. What is a sentence? You must have learned in your class also. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a clear thought or an idea, or in other words, a sentence is a group of words that makes sense. So here we move on to the different kinds of sentences. Children, there are four different kinds of sentences: statement, imperative sentences, interrogative sentences, and exclamatory sentences. Children, you must, whenever you are learning either literature or grammar, whatever you learn, you have to be very particular about your pronunciations and also your spellings. So be careful when you are writing or speaking. Be careful of your pronunciations and spellings. So once again, I would like to read to you the four kinds of sentences: statement, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory. So these are the four kinds of sentences that we are going to learn about in the coming slides. Okay, children. Now we move on to what is a statement. As I told you in my previous slide, what is a sentence? So in other words, a statement is a simple sentence which you speak to express your thought or your ideas very clearly. Whatever you want to tell the other person, you speak very clearly. And when you are writing a statement, remember it always starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. A statement is a simple sentence which makes sense and is spoken or written to convey some information. And again, I repeat, it starts with a capital letter and it always ends with a full stop. So a statement always ends with a full stop. Now here are some examples to make you clear with what is a statement. The boy is intelligent. Now if supposing the teacher says, okay children, the boy. Now you will wonder, the teacher is saying the boy, but what is the meaning of the boy? What is ma'am trying to tell us? And which boy is ma'am talking about? But as soon as your teacher says the boy is intelligent, then quickly you are able to understand, okay, ma'am is telling us about some boy who is intelligent. Now this is a complete group of words that makes sense. If you just say the boy, it does not make sense. You will not be able to understand what is the meaning of the boy. The boy means ladka. But what about the boy? But as soon as you say the boy is intelligent, you understand that we are talking about some boy who is intelligent. We can also say the boy is standing. The boy is running. There are so many sentences, children, which convey your thoughts or your ideas very clearly. So the next sentence is, the train arrived late. Now if you say the train, now okay, again, what about the train? But as soon as you say the train arrived late, So you are telling somebody that the train that you were supposed to be traveling by has arrived late today. So the message is very clear that your train arrived late. But if you just say the train, then nobody will understand what you are trying to say. So to convey a very clear idea, you need to put the group of words in a correct place, start with a capital letter, end it with a full stop, only then it will make sense. The third one is I go for swimming on every Wednesday. Now, if someone asks you, do you swim? And you say, I go. Now, how would anybody know that what you are trying to say? I go means I go. ठीक है, I go. But you go to many places. But as soon as you say, I go for swimming every Wednesday, that means you are clearly conveying the message that you go for swimming. And when do you go? You go on every Wednesday. So the message is very clear. I go for swimming on every Wednesday. Now, children, you see, I have started all the three sentences with the capital letter and I have put a full stop at the end to complete the sentence. So, again, I repeat, what is a statement? A statement is a sentence which makes sense and is spoken or written to convey some information. When you want to inform somebody something, I will be late. I will not have my lunch. I am going to school. They will arrive tomorrow. All these are statements. Statements start with a capital letter and end with a full stop. Okay, children. What are interrogative sentences? So, interrogative sentences and simple words are questions. Every day you are asking so many questions, like the first question and your favorite question to ma'am is, ma'am, when will we do the activity? Ma'am, when will we go for a picnic? Ma'am, what time will we have our lunch? So these are some very few favorite questions that you ask your teachers. So every question that you ask, in other words, is called an interrogative sentence. So just remember, what are interrogative sentences? Interrogative sentences are the questions that you ask. Interrogative sentences are those sentences that ask questions. They start with a capital letter and end with a question mark. Children, remember, if you do not put a question mark at the end of an interrogative sentence, then your sentence will be marked wrong. Reason being, interrogative sentence is a question. So when you ask a question, it is compulsory for us to put a question mark. So remember, we put a full stop at the end of a statement, but we put a question mark at the end of every interrogative sentence. Now I have some examples. Are they shouting? Now this is a question. The children are shouting. So you are asking the children, are they shouting? Then, have you finished your work? Now this question your teacher is asking you every day. Have you finished your work? How long will you take to finish your work? Have you done your homework? So many questions your teacher is asking you. Next is, how is the weather? The weather, okay, children. So the weather at times is hot. The weather at times is pleasant. The weather at times is very dry. The weather at times is cool. So, how is the weather? Is she sleeping? Now here you can see I have added a picture of a little girl who is actually sleeping. So the teacher is asking, or maybe her friend is asking, is she sleeping? So you can see, children, that after all the four sentences, at the end of all the four sentences, I have added a question mark. So when you add a question mark, your sentence becomes an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. Now, children, there are some very important things which you really need to learn and understand as to what are the words that are used to start an interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentences begin with who, what, why, where, when, how, did, do, etc. Sometimes an interrogative sentence may also begin with a helping verb. Helping verbs are is, am, are, has, have, had, was, and were. Now, children, see, usually what happens when you ask a question, then you use the WH words. The WH words. WH words are who, what. You can see WH are the first two letters of all these words that I'm reading out. Who, what, why, where, and when. But apart from these, there are some other words that you need to put at the beginning of a sentence to make your sentence sound like an interrogative sentence. How? How will you do this work? How many pencils do you have? Then next is did. Did you go to the playground today? Did your teacher come to class? Then do. Do you have color pencils? Now these are all the questions that you must have heard your teacher asking you in school, or maybe at home your mom asks you, did your teacher teach you Vyakaran today? Do you go to the playground quite often? Do you go for dance classes? So these are all words that you put at the beginning of a sentence to make it sound as an interrogative sentence or a question. And then again, next sentence that I'm reading out is that the helping verbs are also used in interrogative sentences. Is your mom at home? Am I coming with you for the picnic? Are you going home? Has she dropped her pencil somewhere? Have you completed your homework? Had she gone to her grandmother's place? Was he not listening to you? Were they all running in the class? So all these words. But remember that all the words that I have mentioned over here, you are going to start your sentence with these words. But if you use these words in the middle of a sentence, then the meaning of the sentence changes. Then it is not an interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence always begins with all the words that I have mentioned over here. Okay, children. So now we will move on to our next. So here we move on to learning the imperative sentences. Imperative sentence is a command or an order. It can be a request or it can be an advice given to somebody. Now, what is a command or an order? See, children, a command or an order is given by a senior person, like, for example, your mother, Your mother may say, go to your room. That is a command. Your teacher says, please stand up. That's a command. Your teacher may tell you, leave the music room immediately. That is also a command or an order. And then request. Request is when you want to ask somebody to help you, or maybe very politely you want to ask something or to know something or to convey something to someone. Request, for example, please give me your pencil. Please, may I go to drink water, ma'am? When you add a please, it becomes a request. Now, what is an advice given to somebody? Advice is usually given by the elders or your well-wishers, and above all, the doctors. Okay? Now, when you are not well, you go to the doctor and you say, Doctor, I am having a stomach ache. So, what does the doctor say? Okay, then you must eat healthy food. You must drink a lot of water. You need to stay at home and not roam around in the sun. These are all the things that the doctor says. So, this is an advice given to you. Here, I'm going to read out some examples of command or an order. Take out your book. Now, the teacher says, take out your book. That is a command or an order. Go to your class. This is another command or an order. Give me the magazine. This is another order. Examples of request. Please don't make noise. Please shut the window. Please call your mother. And advice, eat healthy food. Take your medicine on time. Do not watch TV for long. Usually advice is given for your betterment. For your betterment, so that you learn something from it, you take an example and you improve yourself, and that will help you out. Okay, now we move on to the last slide, that is the exclamatory sentences. An exclamatory sentence expresses sudden or strong feelings like excitement, surprise, shock, or admiration. Now, what are these feelings, children? These feelings are when you are very happy, very excited, very enthusiastic. Then at times you are very surprised about certain things. Admiration. What is admiration? Admiration is when you admire something, something that really attracts you, something you find very attractive. You are impressed with something. You're really liking that something. So you start admiring that thing. So all these feelings and expressions are conveyed through the exclamatory sentences. They start with a capital letter and end with an exclamation mark. But children, you must always remember that once you have inserted the exclamation mark, you want to continue your sentence after that, you need to again start writing with a capital letter and end your sentence with a full stop. Now, here are examples of exclamatory sentences which will help you to understand better. Hooray, we have won the match. Now, hooray is a word that is used to express the feeling of enthusiasm or excitement. And you can see I have inserted the exclamation mark soon after the word hooray, and to make sense, to complete the sentence, because if you just say hooray, nobody will understand why you are saying hooray. People are going to ask you, hooray? Why are you so happy? What makes you happy? You have to add meaning to the word hooray. So we must start again with a capital letter soon after the exclamation mark and end the sentence with a full stop. Number 2, wow, what a beautiful painting. Wow, as I said, is admiration for something. When you admire something, your mama is dressed up to go for a function. Wow, mama is looking so pretty. You see a beautiful picture. Wow, such a beautiful painting. So to express admiration, you use the word wow. Oh, oh, children, is used to express your displeasure or shock. Sometimes some things happen which you don't expect to happen. Now you have prepared a beautiful project for the class. Your teacher is going to give you marks for it. But what happens? You go to school, you open your bag and you find, oh, you have forgotten to bring your project. So what do you say? Oh, I forgot to bring my project. That is that you are not happy. You're shocked. How could you have done that? Ouch. Ouch is also shock or displeasure. Ouch, I have hurt my foot. When you get hurt, when somebody pushes you, when somebody pinches you, or supposing a bee comes and stings you on your arm, then the first thing you say is ouch. So this is also an exclamatory word. And you can see I have inserted exclamation mark after all these words that express our feelings or our expressions in some way or the other. And soon after the exclamation mark, I have started writing again with a capital letter to make sense. So this is all about exclamatory sentences. So now children, a quick revision of what is a sentence. A sentence is a group of words put together to make some sense. It starts with a capital letter and it ends with a full stop. Then there are 4 kinds of sentences: statement, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory. Remember to put the correct punctuation marks after every kind of sentence that you write. So children, with this, now I come to the end of this video. Hope you would have been able to understand better. So I will again meet you with a new video soon. Thank you. Being so attentive. Thank you for listening to me. If you like my video, then you must like it and subscribe. I will keep coming up with new videos on whatever topics you have in your grammar books or the basic grammar topics which you would like to understand. Thank you.